welcome back to my Rebel channel. I am ready to rebel about Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15, episode 15, Sip and Spill. If you do not know, this is the second to last episode for the season before the reunion. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It was short. I missed episode 14 when I'm talking about reviewing. I did watch it, but with everything that I've been trying to do, I have detailed that in the episodes that I have grouped together. And me working overtime, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's like, I'm gonna take that time to get that rest because it wasn't that much going on last episode anyway. But when it comes to the reunion, I'm gonna do like I always do. I'm going to go ahead and wait until the third part. Well, I don't think it's gonna be 3 parts. I believe it's gonna be 2 parts because it's not enough to give 3 parts. And if they pull that again, that's gonna be dreadful. I hope they don't. But after the 2 or 3 part reunion, I am going to also do a review to talk about what I think they can do to kind of give the show some life. Breathe some life into it, because a lot of people feel it's either the cast, it's production, it's a number of other things, and I have my own synopsis for that. So, you know, I'm kind of do it just how I did Tyler Perry's Sisters and put my little spin on it. So be on the lookout for that as well. And I am also still sitting on the other content. I do plan to push that out as well. Let's not waste any more time. We're going to start off with Sonya. So during this episode, we see Sonya visiting Dr. Jackie. Everybody in Atlanta, not everybody, majority. But the majority of people in Atlanta goes to Dr. Jackie. She be on it. But Dr. Jackie lets Sonya know that she is considered to have a geriatric pregnancy. And all that really means is once you hit the age of 35, you're higher risk. And because she's higher risk, different things can happen. And that's why if it was me, we did learn in this episode that she did tell her son Deuce that he is having a sibling. I probably would have waited a little further down the line because we never know what happened. She's considered to be higher risk. So instead of getting like hopes up and different things happen, I probably would have waited. But you can definitely tell Deuce, her husband, they're excited. None of them knew what the geriatric thing was. Her husband was sitting there confused. But listen, I want to see how this pans out for Sonya. I think that's a really good storyline. That's something that's real. That's something that we want to see. Also, I do want to point out last episode, I know I didn't review last episode, but the way she tried to reveal to her family and had the t-shirts and saying we're pregnant and they were standing on the wrong side, hilarious. I also want to talk about Marlo. We learned this episode, Marlo is still talking to her life coach. A+ for her. Then we also see her having her Shades of Blue Foster Care Fridays. Now, this event was lovely. I feel like this is something we want to see from Marlo compared to all the other stuff she did at the earlier portions of the season. We didn't forget it, Marlo, but this we like to see. Now, during this event though, I do want to state that foster kids, I've never been a foster kid. I just have to state that I do have a family member that is considered to be a foster kid, but my great aunt took him in as her own and he has always been a part of our family. When you do that or you're doing stuff for foster kids, you have to make sure you put your best foot forward because they deal with so much on a daily basis. And I really hope Marlo is doing that for the kids because like we all know, sometimes some kids age out of foster care. Who did they have before and who are they gonna have afterwards? So I hope she really does something that can basically really makes a difference in their life. I feel like that's something they need and I would love to see that on the show, making a difference in people's lives. Marlo is also excited because Courtney and Sonya showed up to her event and she was worried about if Sheree would be there because I believe her event was on the same day as Sheree's event for her granddaughter. But Sheree shows up, she's excited because you know, Marlo said she would have felt some way if she wasn't there. I get that. Now, listen, some people can't make it to everything and she actually had a good excuse for why she wouldn't be there. It would be different if she just wasn't showing up for you and you always show up for her, but I don't think that was the case. So Marlo could have just let that go. Now, Drew and Kandi, we learned that they are filming for their movie, The Past. And side note, this is really quickly, I'm doing my editing my images and videos and stuff that I was able to find online from different sites. And y'all, based off this photo and who I see, Todd and them casted some people that we definitely know can act. So this is not gonna be one of those movies where it's like, you know, you just throwing people in there and we seeing how they gonna do. These people really know how to act. So kudos to y'all. I just had to point that out really quick. Todd, this is Todd's movie. Mayetta is also a part of it. Todd lets us know that he spent No, he didn't spend, he saved about $6K. He saved about $6K because he did just like Tyler Perry and many others do. He decided to film within his home. Now, I do understand that because people do that all the time to cut costs, because listen, them budgets on movies, if y'all ever just watch people review or the directors and different people talk about it, it can be a lot. That budget, especially if you have to consistently like reshoot scenes, it drains your budget. So I get wanting to cut back in that sense by doing it at your home. Now, I am Kandi though, because ain't no way you're gonna do sex scenes in my bedroom. Sir, you had a back house for that. That's not what your main bedroom is for. And honestly, I'm a little funny. If I host an event or anything, I like to keep a few people in my home, and I'm very careful on who walks in, because I'm a firm believer that people, especially if you don't know them, they bring things with them. I don't want you to bring nothing into my home and I'm wondering why something is off. So listen, I was Kandi when she was basically saying in her confessional, I don't agree with that. You shouldn't have all these people in our bed. Listen, Kandi, I definitely understand. Now, we have Drew acting. I think her acting was good. She did well. I'm going to get on her in a second, though. Then we see Monyetta basically trying to bring up everything from the cash trip. Now, the cash trip, they talked about this last episode, and we remember, side note, them cash trips they gave this season were very, what would Nene say?
Miss Unforgettable.
Because listen, there's no way I don't remember much. And let me not say I don't remember much, but nothing really stood out. This season just really didn't stand out, and that's a point. It's so annoying. But she brings up Courtney calling Drew a B. She brings this up all over again because we know last episode at Drew's event that's based off of what her sister went through and how she wanted to help her castmates get through whatever they have going on mentally and so forth. Because I believe that's what really stood out last episode, because mental health is very real, and I feel like we don't zone in on that enough. But at that event, after Drew had explained that the lady suing her went from 1,000 to 10,000, that we all know is a lie. Listen, we learned that they are saying that Courtney called Drew the B word. And listen, Courtney says, I don't use that word. Footage says
you do use it.
It has played back, not only last episode, but it plays back this episode. The only difference is she was not talking about Drew. Just like I felt last episode, she was not talking about Drew. We get a clearer look at it. She was talking about Sonya, and I don't know if Sonya caught on to it or not, but she was calling she was calling Sonya the B word. I don't know why the wires are really crossed when it comes to that. So Drew is gonna get all riled up about this, and that's not really, that's not the case. That's not what's going on there. Monyetta, if you're gonna bring back the information, girl, you gotta bring it back a little right. In Drew's trailer, we see her talking to her assistant, and this is where I say I gotta get on her a little bit, because she did say that they have been filming for long hours. It's been a lot, and we definitely understand that, because there are plenty of other people that do movies and TV shows, and they talk about all the time, especially before the writer's strike, how the hectic schedules of filming is crazy to get a season done. So we get it, especially if not only are they filming for a movie, they have to film for the show. That's double, that's a lot. But in this scene, we see her make comments about, if it ain't Lifetime, I'm not doing this again. Because Now, I would have felt uncomfortable doing any scene in like that in general, but doing that in Kandi's bed, I feel her when it comes to that. But ma'am, if it was a Lifetime check, you would still do the same thing. Don't try to make it seem like it's different. Don't y'all hate when people try to act brand new when it's something else? Ma'am, you would still do the same exact thing. Now, after talking to her assistant and bringing all that up, we see her husband walk in, and he makes a little joke to the assistant when he was trying to get out. It ain't funny, but it's funny at the same time, because he was taking a minute to slide out of there, but I was like, okay, Ralph. He sits down, they start talking about the show. You know, they start talking about the past, the movie that she's filming for. And while she's talking about that and how she feels like she connects with the character that she's playing, you know, she's a wife, she's this, she's that. She says, mine is the lesbian stuff. And we're like, okay, Drew, you keep bringing this up. If you keep bringing it up, it's gonna make it harder for you to like beat those allegations. But we see her husband bring it up, and he's very like zoned in on the lesbian part, and it's like, you're missing the point of what she's trying to tell you. He even missed the point when he was sitting there saying that, you know, this is a lot for me, basically, you know, I have to pick up the slack and do this. And I was like, men love to do this, and it's annoying. Sir, she had the kids, not just for herself, but for you. She said if her husband wants a baby, she's going to do that. Why can't you help out and pick up on slack when she got to work? It's a two-way street. You got to do the same exact thing. And here goes the car in the background, but that's okay. Hopefully it does not pick it up. You have to do the same exact things, and that'd be so annoying. Like, if you are not going to help your wife with that, you shouldn't be asking for a baby. Later on, we learned how not stressed out, but she was just tired. They've been filming for 10 days. The schedules is hectic. She don't get home till late. All the other women are getting dressed for Sheree's event to basically reveal her grandbaby to everybody. And Drew shows up, and lo and behold, who is there? It's Anthony. Y'all know how I feel about Anthony from last season. And we learned that he threw a shoe at Drew. She said she didn't feel comfortable going in there because someone that is there that assaulted her. Now, when production asks Sheree why was he there, and she's like, oh, because he brought me and Martell together. And I was like, ma'am, what does that have to do with your grandbaby at this event? You knew what you were doing bringing Anthony there, and can't nobody tell me anything different? It's very clear. So I'd have been Drew. I'd have left too. We're not about to go through all this again. And we could definitely tell Anthony was still on that energy when it comes to the event, because the way he was talking about her and the stuff he was saying, ain't no way. I was definitely glad that Kandi stood up for her in that moment, because sir, you're not gonna say all that about her. Like, you do too much. But when it comes to her event, y'all, that event was beautiful. My niece's birthday comes up in January. We got some time to plan. If I don't have the type of money Sheree has, but if I can step out and we could do that for her, because we want to do her second birthday party, really like do it up for her. If we could pull something like that off, that would be so cool. The balloons, the bears, everybody stepping out in the shades of nude or pink. In a way, I think that was beautiful. I had a hard time trying to understand if this was really for the grandbaby or for Sheree, because we definitely seen her doing extra, but I can't lie, we all have a little extraness in us sometimes. Everybody want to look just as good. But as everybody's mingling, we learned the women felt like, when it comes to Courtney, they never see her without a headband. They brought that up, and I thought it was funny because everybody's like, we didn't know if she had edges or not, but we know she does. But they just seen her with headbands so often, and I did not recognize it. I was like, she does always have a headband on. So everybody steps out. Now, not Courtney, Kim. Not, girl, where I get Kim from? Kenya. Kenya's friend that stepped out in blue, ma'am.
You got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate. See, you got to coordinate. Yes, that's what you do.
If they tell you to step out in nude or pink to the event, that's what you step out into, because you wouldn't do that at anybody else's stuff. I am firm on that. Dress codes are there for a reason. Now, we see the grandbaby. She's adorable. She's tired, but she's adorable. You can definitely tell she did not want all the people in her face. After everybody sees her, they go to take the pictures, and y'all, Bob literally scoots somebody into the picture, and everybody's smiling. They're taking the picture. Sheree's looking like, who is this? So she tries to get back by thinking that's his girlfriend and has Martell hop in the picture. I was like, one, you have not been with Martell long enough for him to be in that family photo. Two, who just let somebody's in their picture and they don't know who that is? That's like when we did my nephew's birthday party and they had like the little slide with the water, the water slides and stuff. And some random people came up and was like, hey, we could hop on there too. And we was looking like, who is these people at this party? That's why I don't understand why Sheree didn't flat out say, who is this person in my picture? And her son did the same thing. He didn't do the same thing. He just stood there. So that lets us know he kind of knew who she was. But thanks to Kandi and the other women trying to get to the bottom of it, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I felt like they were overdoing, and I felt like production was playing it up. And I was like, oh, I am not here for it, because y'all been playing up everything else this season. This one actually landed for me. I was like, okay, because it really was some spectacle behind it. Y'all, Bob had a daughter before he married Sheree, and he didn't even tell her. He said she was on a need-to-know basis, and the girl goes and talked to Sheree later on after the women had said stuff, and we learned that, she was like, I've been around the kids, and da-da-da-da-da, and this is beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, so she was around the kid, and the kids ain't say nothing? The kids didn't say nothing? I was like, okay. But hey, that's their sister. But that's a weird way to bring that in. And the way he was just sitting there and they was asking him, well, when was this kid born? Kandi, thanks to Kandi, shout out to Kandi for asking them questions. But she was like, well, when was this baby? Because I only knew about da-da-da-da-da. I've been knowing him since I was like, I think she said like 19 or something like that. And he was counting on the fingers. I was like, this man here is something else. Y'all, like, why it took Sheree so long to leave him. That man is something else. That was the episode. Side note, y'all, Kenya has been talking and she is revealing a lot, and it's saying a lot for what we all like really feel is going on right now this season. I told you I really wanted to see how her hair spa and everything was going to play out for the season, and we are not getting that. She lets us know we're not getting it, and she explains why. This is production leaving stuff out, and what is like very key for the season. I am going to be talking about that when I do that review for what I think they can do better and etc. And I'm talking about the reunion and all that, but be on the lookout. I'll see y'all next week to talk about the finale. Hopefully that is something, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I feel like that's gonna also fall flat because so much has gone on, and I feel like even down to them saying the Drew, the lesbian thing, it wasn't like they were trying to make it seem in the trailer. The trailer gave a lot, but when everything showed up, it left a lot to be desired. But that's my thoughts so far on episode 15, and I will see y'all next time.